So people who struggle with rhythm in freestyle rapping, I mean, the first thing you got to do is learn how to just listen. You got to learn how to kind of unite your body with the rhythm. And as you start to get further and further into your rhyming and your freestyling, you got to find a way to stay with it and stay kind of attached to the ground. Otherwise, things just they just fall apart. So the first thing that's really helpful to do is do a little bit of rhythm learning. Have a lesson out that's kind of more for beginner instrumentalists, but it's kind of helpful with this, that kind of explains the basics of counting a 4/4 rhythm. I would recommend checking out that lesson if you can, but here's a real quick refresher. You know, pretty much all hip hop beats are in 4/4, and you know, the beat is something like 1, 2, 3, 4. You got bass on 1, snare on 2, and then bass on 3, snare on 4. And just all your kind of dairy dressings on top of that. That's how pretty much every hip hop beat is structured on some level. Once you kind of understand that, you can kind of get that this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a is going on in there somehow. And then you start to realize that there are also patterns that you like to eventually get to. We'll get to those in the next video, but eventually you want to start to try to land the rhymes in certain places that kind of gives it a sense of consistency. But for now, everyone tries to jump in and do 4/4s, but they never been there. Yo, they don't know the score. There's a trick that you have to learn. You got to do before, and that's just to learn how to stay with the beat. Yo, you got to learn how to talk random things with the rhythm like you read in the newspaper and not rhyme at all. So the thing I recommend people do, it's kind of, I was rhyming at first there, and then I just didn't rhyme. Purposely not rhyming at all. You know, when you're trying to rhyme and stay with the beat at the same time and you're starting out, you're just gonna crumble. So first thing I recommend you do is that you can put on any beat or any song that you want to go with, and you can just kind of bob your head to it, get locked in a little bit. Once you kind of got yourself locked in, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then start talking with the rhythm and just say normal things that you would normally say. And if you can have a conversation in the rhythm, then you're doing a lot better than if you could not at all. And then you don't have the pressure of trying to rhyme at the same time, but you're doing something essential. And if you find yourself like running away or really just not staying with it, you really kind of balance yourself. Every now and then you got to kind of stop, bring yourself back, and then find a way to jump back on the train. And whatever you want to do, don't try to rhyme at all. Just try to resist the urge, because it's so useful later just to be able to let go of that. Because sometimes, even when you freestyle for real, yes, you don't have a rhyme, but that's okay, because sometimes you will find it in another place. And what I found when I was doing that exercise is eventually rhymes kind of started happening by accident. Like once I got comfortable with the beat, I eventually couldn't help rhyming with it. It just felt natural, but that kind of comes in its natural time. But if you can't sort of find a connection to the rhythm first, a lot of times you're going to be stuck. So the main thing I recommend people do if they're really stuck with this is to, if you need to, literally just try rapping along with a bunch of your favorite songs, or even really just taking one and trying to stay dead lockstep with the original record, a couple of times. Because the other thing that this does is it starts to get rhythmic phrases inside you. When you're freestyling, you have to find ways to take kind of the normal contours of language and conform them to the beats. And in songs, this is already done. All the phrases are already in there. And you don't think of it this way, but you're almost absorbing rhythm words when you do this. Is that the way that the words interact with the beat, it's kind of encoded in the song, and if you can do the song, you kind of know those rhythm words in a way. And those rhythm words will be repeated in other parts of the language and just other things that you freestyle. So it's often really helpful just to rap along with records, just a bunch. Try to do like 5 whole songs, just bam, bam. I know every single word. I'm just right there with the artist. I'm trying to just stay in tight with him as you can. Then try to do something really easy, like just pick up the newspaper and just put a beat on. I mean, let's give you an example. I mean, I'll try to read some sort of, let me make a beat for myself here. So I got my beat going on here. I'm just picking up my book. random book. Let's find the intro. Better yet, let's read the jacket. Here we go. While others are content to collect coins, stock certificates, or butterflies, Paul Dickinson collects words, funny words, obscure words, new words, and sexy words, insulting words, all sorts of words. In a remarkable collection this he has assembled and displayed, a fresh set of swear words that beg to be used in the place of the tired group we have now. You know, if you can read a book or read the newspaper and you can keep it to a beat, now you're cruising. Now you got the feel. And then you start to be ready to bring the rhymes back in together. And so the next exercise we're going to do is how you start to weave all these things together.